What's up, guys? My name is DJ Swivel, and on this week's episode of Storytime, I'm going to tell you the story of how I recorded the chorus for All of the Lights by Kanye West, and it was a hilarious session, one of the most memorable I've ever had. Stay tuned.
DJ Swivel, don't you tell the story, please. DJ Swivel, don't make it cheese.
What's up, guys? My name is DJ Swivel, and we're back for another week of Storytime. Usually I try to make these stories, parables and some sort of greater lesson to be learned. I don't know if this one has a great lesson to be learned, but it's hilarious. And it's one of my fondest memories working in music, one of my most memorable sessions I've ever had. And I thought I would share it with you today. And that is the story of how the hook for All of the Lights, Kanye West, All of the Lights, how that hook came to be. So, this happened about 10 years ago. It would have been probably September-ish of 2010. And I know that because this is before my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, of which All of the Lights is on. It's before that came out. And also it's after the time when I started working with Beyonce, which was sort of the beginning of 2010. So I know it's somewhere around the summer of 2010 or end of summer. And basically, we were working on a number of things for Beyonce. We were working on her album, 4. But at the same time, she needed to finish her live DVD, her tour DVD for the I Am Sasha Fierce, the I Am World Tour DVD. So now this is a DVD that had footage from 100+ tour dates and audio from a couple of the tour dates that then got layered on with footage from all these other tour dates. And typically, when you're putting something that complex together, you're always going to have moments where you need to do some overdubs. And what I mean by overdubs is the audio that was captured the night of the concert maybe wasn't so great. Maybe there was a problem with it. Maybe the artist's delivery that night wasn't perfect. And so you will do overdubs in the studio where you put up the visual, the final DVD edit on screen, and you put the artist in a big room with, the same microphone that she would use on tour, and you record it with the speakers on because a little feedback's okay in this scenario, although it's not much because you're using a dynamic mic. And you want it to feel live. And so this is not something where I put Beyonce in the booth and we try to get the most pristine recording. This is something we do in the control room with the speakers loud and her mic, and she can sing and dance along almost like karaoke, because we want her breathing, we want her moving. The same way that when she's dancing and singing, it's going to sound a little bit different than if you're singing, without moving, right? And so we want to try to recreate what was happening on stage at that moment. So anyways, we're finishing some overdubs, and part of finishing the overdubs is that we need to get an overdub from Kanye West. Kanye, on that DVD, he came out on some of the tour dates and did a guest appearance and performed his verse on, I think the song was Ego by Beyonce. And so we needed to re-record his verse because for whatever reason, the audio that we had captured was not great. So we invite Kanye to the studio, and he comes in. Now, we're at Legacy Recording Studios, which is on 48th Street in Times Square in New York City. It no longer exists, but that's where it was. So we have all 3 rooms booked out. We've got Beyonce and I recording vocals in one room. We've got The Dream writing songs in another room. And we've got a third room that we've got set up for Kanye to come in and do his overdub. So he's got his own private room that he can work in. Now, when Kanye shows up, of course, we welcome him into the studio. And so Beyonce, myself, Shay Taylor, who was there, we all kind of go downstairs and get Kanye set up and make sure he's got everything he needs to work. And he comes with a fairly small group. It was 3 or 4 people. It was Kanye, it was Virgil Abloh, it was and there might have been 1 or 2 assistants who showed up. So we're all in the room, and we're just kind of, just having banter and just normal break the ice conversation sort of stuff. How are you doing? Blah, 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 all this. So once we get going, Kanye starts messing around on Twitter. Now this, for context, is after the Taylor Swift incident at the MTV Awards or wherever it was. This is after that. And Kanye has a very strong opinion about women's makeup, in particular, how women wear their lipstick. I couldn't make it up. In fact, I'm sure if you look it up, there are tweets about, because the tweet went out. I know the tweets went out. So if you Google Kanye West lipstick, I'll actually, after this, I'll look it up. And if I find the tweet, I'll link it in the description box below. But anyways, Kanye has this very strong opinion that he doesn't think, if I recall correctly, he doesn't think women should wear dark lipstick. The reason why I actually remember this is because he stopped the entire session. There's probably, 10 people in the room, and stopped the entire session so that we could figure out the best way collectively as a unit for him to word this tweet that he doesn't like when girls wear dark lipstick without offending his fans who happen to wear dark lipstick. He was very conscious about his words, especially after the Taylor incident, and very self-conscious about how he communicates to the public. And he didn't want to just send a brash tweet. He wanted to really think about it and make sure that he worded it correctly so as to not offend any of his fans. I thought this was hilarious. For something so trivial as women wearing dark lipstick. I had never really thought of it. But anyways, that's sort of what happened. So we stopped the whole session for probably 45 minutes. This discussion goes back and forth over how to word it and how to tweet it. Finally, the tweet goes out. Okay. It might have been a few tweets. I'm not sure. Then we start focusing on the task at hand, what we need to do. So Beyonce's like, yeah, I need you to do this. I need you to recut this part on ego, blah, blah, blah. It'll only take 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, cool. I'll do that. I want to play you my album, though, is what Kanye says. So Kanye's in the middle of working on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. He wants to play us all the album. Now, I'm geeking because I'm a huge Kanye West fan. Musically, he's a genius. He's a genius. There's no other way to describe what Kanye West is other than he is a creative genius. You don't have to agree with all his political stances. I certainly don't. Many of his stances I don't agree with, but you cannot take away he is a musical genius. And I don't say that lightly. So I'm geeking. I get to hear Kanye's next album, and wow, it was incredible. I remember hearing Power. I remember hearing Monster. I remember hearing So Appalled. And I'm just like, wow, this album's going to be incredible. So then he gets to the end of it, and he's now hijacked the entire Beyonce team and the whole session for several hours now. And he gets to the last song, and Dream is upstairs writing songs for B. And before he plays this last song, he's like, tells his assistant, hey, run and go grab Dream. I want him to be down here. I want him to hear this. So they run, they grab Dream. Dream comes down. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Blah, blah, blah. Kanye's like, I want to play this song. This is going to be one of my singles. I need a hook. And Dream's here working for Beyonce. but somehow the session got hijacked, and now he's working for Kanye. And so they play the song. They play the beat for All of the Lights, and you hear some of Kanye's verses, and he's referencing lights or something. There was a concept there. There was a concept about lights. And Kanye explains to Dream that concept, and, you know, I just want you to come up with a big hook for it, really catchy, melodic, blah, blah, blah. So Dream's like, sure. Now Dream writes on the microphone. So I'm the only engineer down there. Dream jumps in the booth. I get in the driver's seat, working Pro Tools, and Dream just starts writing, not writing, just humming melodies. And again, he writes in his head on, at least in this case, on the microphone. And so everyone's in the room, everyone's listening. And after a few takes, you know, I don't know how long, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, he lands on something really, really good. And it's just like, turn up the lights in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. I'm not a great singer, but you get the point. And he lands on this melody. And then he starts fleshing it out. And then he stops and he's like, hey, Kanye, what do you think of this? You know, he's now done a few takes of it, so he's sort of improved it and got it kind of close. I don't even think all the lyrics were there yet, but the melody was there and maybe some words were there. So he stops, like, Kanye, what you think? Now, I'm laser focused because I got Beyonce back here. I got Kanye back here. Virgil wasn't Virgil at that time, but he was there. And I'm in a room of legends. Like, I'm just on my P's and Q's. I'm just trying not to screw up, right? So I'm not paying attention to anything behind me. All I'm focused on is this bright monitor in front of me and make sure I capture everything Dream does. Because if I miss something, and Kanye loved that, I'm going to be in big trouble. So I turn around like, hey, yeah, Kanye, what'd you think? And Kanye, along with his whole team, so Kanye, Virgil, and his assistant, were completely unconscious, passed out, snoring. Maybe I'm exaggerating on the snoring part, but they were in a deep slumber, put it that way. Now the music is loud, so I'm not really hearing this at the time when we're recording, but I turn around and he's like full on, like, knocked out. And I just remember Dream say, is this motherfucker sleeping? And we turn around, sure enough, he's sleeping, and Beyonce's laughing, and we just thought it was hilarious. And, clearly he was working very, very hard on this album. And to be honest, I don't blame him, because I've been there. It is actually very easy to fall asleep in the studio when you've worked a 23-hour day. I can tell you on many occasions I have fallen asleep at the wheel while Beyonce is in the booth singing. You know, you kind of just close your eyes. You're like, oh, I'm exhausted. I need to give my eyes a rest. But your ears are kind of on and your eyes are off. And you just kind of do this, and then you just try to shake your head out of it and wake up and like, did we get it? Okay, cool. You want another take? Okay, cool. And then you do another take, and ask any engineer who works at a high level, who has very demanding hours, with artists who work very demanding hours. I guarantee you, they will tell you that they have fallen asleep at the wheel. So I don't blame Kanye. He was finishing an album, probably just exhausted. And the irony, or not, I don't know if it's irony, but what I thought was quite funny is that not only did Kanye fall asleep, but his whole team did. So I assume that they get to sleep when he gets to sleep, which is normal. So I thought that was hilarious. Dream goes ahead and finishes the writing, adds the lyrics to it, turns into what it was. We finally wake Kanye up. He hears it. He loves it. This is awesome. And then he takes off. In fact, I don't even think he recorded the overdubs for Beyonce that day. I think he had to come back in another day to do it, which is also funny. And then sure enough, they take Dream's vocal and then they layered it with I think Elton John is singing that hook, Fergie's singing that hook. I want to say Alicia Keys is singing that hook. I could be wrong. There's a bunch of people singing that hook. But that was super memorable for me. It was the first like Grammy winning project that I was involved with. And I have, it was just one of the most memorable sessions I've ever had, and just grateful to have played a very, very small part in that song. And I don't know what the lesson is. Maybe rest when you can. I don't think there's a great lesson here, but surely maybe really take your time when you're going to send an offensive tweet, and or a possibly offensive tweet, and get some rest when you're in the studio, because it really does drain you. Anyways, that is story time for the week. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think of this story, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm DJ Swivel. Peace.